Greetings! Welcome back to Couch Critic with me, Dennis P. For what is your Chelsea match review, but more specifically, a tactical synopsis of Chelsea's performance against Tottenham Hotspur. But before getting to any of that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, do me the favor and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification button. I know I haven't been making a lot of videos lately. It mainly comes down to the fact that I moved to Hamilton and I'm still adjusting to my new environment. I'm trying to set up this room for you guys so that we can make the videos that we have been making in the past. And it's taking some time, but in the process of doing that, I do need you to hit the like button, hit the bell subscribe button, just to keep me in the algorithm, keeping me in the thoughts and minds of people that might be interested in this content. So please do me that favor. We are going to be getting into the Tottenham review, and what a game from Chelsea. Tactical masterclass from Maresca once again. We're going to be speaking of specifically the role of Reece James in this game, the return of Wesley Fofana, and of course Chelsea's daunting press, which was incredible from minute 1 to minute 90. But we're going to start with the captain, and rightfully so, Reece James once again. Doesn't matter what role you play him in, you get a stellar performance from this guy time and time again. I mean, there's lots of talk in the media these days about what his actual position is. Is he still the best right back in the world? Is he a right center back now? Does he play wing back? Is he a midfielder? And my answer to all these questions is, it doesn't matter where you play Reece James. Reece James is just a footballer. He's a guy that you put on the pitch with an assignment and he executes it at an extremely high level. I'm sick and tired of hearing these comparisons to players that, are good in one particular role but don't excel in any other. And when you look at a guy like Reece James, what you get is the entire package, a complete footballer. And again, against the Spurs, it was no different. He was basically assigned as a midfielder. And his number one priority was to stop Bentancur for getting on the ball and essentially stopping, Tottenham from, playing out at source. Once you cut off Bentancur, they have a lack of ability to facilitate their offense from phase one of their buildup. And Reece James was just imperious in this role. I mean, the concentration and discipline to stay with Bentancur from minute 1 to minute 90 for a player that doesn't necessarily always play in that role was, again, just a testament to his quality as a footballer. And we're going to look at some clips right now just to illustrate exactly what I meant by that, why Reece James was so important at stopping the Spurs at source. It just happened time and time again. Like, Reece James was just on him like white on rice the entire match, always switched on. Whenever Bentancur looked to receive the ball, Reece James was maybe 2 or 3 paces in behind him and just never gave him space to breathe. And this is the reason why Spurs created so little offensively the entire match. It was because Reece James cut them at source. He made sure that Bentancur could not get in the ball. If they were going to create anything, it was going to be through the likes of Sarr or Paulinho, and neither of those guys are adept at like first phase buildup or at adept at like creating offensive opportunities. And as a result, you see a Tottenham side that create 0.05 expected G. This was the key to the game for me, not Reece James' ability to win ground duels, aerial duels, tackles. It was the ability to keep them from playing football by stopping them at source, with the likes of Bentancur being kept off the ball the entire match. And again, that level of commitment and concentration throughout the entire match is why Reece James is revered as one of the great footballers of our generation. He is that guy. You put him in any role, you give him any assignment, and he's going to execute it to a T. Now, you might say that you don't necessarily want to see Reece James in the midfield, running up and down the pitch, trying to win tackles all the time. You think his best role might be a little bit more reserved as a right back, where, his instructions are very acute and he doesn't have to do much more than maybe just overlap whipping crosses and, defend the flank as, up and down, marshal that right flank. But when you see him in the midfield, the reason why I like him there is because it opens up so much more of his game. His decision making on the ball is in play, and then also his ball striking ability, which is, again, just astounding. So I don't necessarily want to see him in the midfield every game, because I think that we have enough quality in that position where we can get by without using him there. But there's no doubt in my mind that when you put Reece James in a position where you're asking him to basically mark a player out of the game and, get on the ball and get us playing football, come deep and collect, look for those switches to Garnacho, he's the guy that will execute at a high enough level that will allow us to play football. And I think that was the key to getting Chelsea on the right foot, getting off to a good start. Not the only key, not the fundamental key, but certainly stopping Spurs from playing football at home and only creating 0.05 XG. A lot of that could be accredited to the play of Reece James today. Now, as I said, Reece James was a big piece to Chelsea executing a game plan and winning ultimately at White Hart Lane, 3-point lane, with the toilet bowl, whatever you want to call it these days. But it wasn't the reason why, the main reason for me. I think that the main reason why Chelsea were able to be so successful in this game was just their energy in the press. The press was fantastic. Every player involved in Chelsea's first wave of the press, second wave of the press, and of course the backline, the ball recoveries were just incredible, and it gave, again, the Spurs no room to build any sort of attacks. Like, obviously, when I spoke of Reece James cutting off Bentancur at source, the next outlet for them was to go long, and every time they went long, Chelsea were there to either win the aerial duel or win the second ball. And I just felt like throughout the match, when I watched them press the Spurs, it just created so many turnovers. And again, that is a commitment style of play that Chelsea have been successful at in the past, but we don't see a lot of it just because a lot of teams don't like playing out from the back when they're playing Chelsea now. And just for these reasons, Chelsea's energy and commitment to pressing with like real determination and creating turnovers was wreaking havoc in the Spurs' first wave of their build-up. And as a result, they started going long. And when they went long, the result was Chelsea either winning the ball back real quickly and recycling possession, or, just snuffing out all the danger by putting clearances out of bounds. And, you just they couldn't build anything without Chelsea, finding a way to snuff it out. And again, you don't create 0.05 XG in a game at home if the team that is defending you is doing a poor job of stopping you at source or making it difficult for you to play out. And I thought that Chelsea's press was perfectly illustrated by that. There weren't very many press triggers. I thought that we were just very, very compact and very, very tight on whoever received the ball. Neto didn't win a lot of ground duels, but again, he was so fundamentally important to the system that Chelsea were employing in the press. Same for Garnacho. I would say that Enzo Fernandez was also very, very fundamental and important in that first wave of Chelsea's press. And of course, João Pedro, who was basically picking up all the loose ends when Chelsea produced the turnovers and had about 3 or 4 A1 opportunities to score goals. Obviously, he does take one of them and was the match winner, but overall, with Chelsea were creating turnover after turnover due to their high press, and the beneficiary for a lot of those moves was player that we had at the striker position, João Pedro, realizing that obviously Romero was in the game, and he's again another one of the conduits for their building up from the back. And again, it was just a tactical masterclass on his part. Obviously, Romero does come into the game in the second half, but by then Chelsea were already well into their routine. They were well into their structure and solid in it. And as much as I credit Maresca for that, I credit 1 through 11 on the pitch. Everyone came on with an assignment and executed it at a very, very high level. And this is what you need in derby games. This is what you need at the highest end of the Premier League. You need everyone to be focused, switched on, and committed to the structure of the team. And that's what we got. That's a performance that you got. And when you do it at a high enough level, you produce, you leave the opponent producing an XG of 0.005. So long may it continue. Excellent job by Chelsea. Now, finally, I wanted to speak on somebody that has been sorely missed in our setup for quite some time. Just can't stay healthy. I don't even think he's played 50 games yet as a Chelsea player, and he's been here for 3 or 4 years, and that's obviously Wesley Fofana. Now, Wesley Fofana, obviously very, very injury prone, and is a guy that he hasn't really shown that we can depend on him to be a regular in this Chelsea setup. But one thing is for sure, when Wesley Fofana is in that Chelsea side, he fundamentally changes what we can do as a football club. He's that good. I mean, everything that you want in a center back in this system under Maresca is exactly what I think Fofana possesses. He's a guy that is very press resistant. He can obviously, when we're playing out from the back, he's a guy that makes it very, very easy for the goaltender Sanchez to play to him because he can trust him in possession. He's very good on the ball, and he makes good decisions as well. Not to mention the fact that, like, when you're playing a high line, as Chelsea often do, you need somebody that has the recovery pace and the ability to read danger. And again, Wesley Fofana just has that in droves, not to mention the fact that he's aerially dominant. Like, when you see him attack attack headers and stuff like that, he does it at a really, really high clip. He has an incredible leap on him. And all of these things that are things that we sorely missed when Wesley Fofana is not in the side. And, center back has been an issue for Chelsea for a number of years now, mainly because, in my opinion, Wesley Fofana has not been able to stay fit. Because Wesley Fofana has been injured so much, we've had to depend on the likes of, Chalobah, Tosin, all these guys, Achimpong, who is an up-and-comer in the same mold as Wesley Fofana, in my opinion. We've had to rely on these guys to extend beyond what they would normally be asked to play. And, I think because quality is tied to consistency, we're let down in that aspect because we're asking them to play at a high level for longer than their quality suggests they should be able to do. But I do think I'm going to wrap it up right there. Chelsea, once again, go to 3-point lane and collect 3 points. Was it ever in doubt? I'm in these chats, these WhatsApp groups and whatnot, and we talk ad nauseum about football. I kid you not, every day is a list of things that we're talking about football-wise, and we always talk about the matches. And there is a group of people that think, Chelsea, we have to be really worried about the Spurs because we aren't playing good football. And one thing that we have to know as Chelsea supporters is, doesn't matter what form we are in as a football club, when it comes time to play in Tottenham Hotspur, all bets are off. Chelsea show up for that game and usually come out aces. So never in doubt, never in a worry there. Thought we had some really good performances throughout the pitch. I thought Sanchez was very, very good in net. Didn't really have much to do, as a 0.05 XG would suggest, but I thought his distribution was really good. I thought his cross collection and command of the area was also really good as well. And a lot of the counters that Chelsea were able to get on were started from Sanchez realizing the space and playing it into the likes of Garnacho or Enzo or João Pedro or even Pedro at times as well. So thought he was really good. I also thought that Trev complemented Wesley Fofana quite well. I feel like Trev, to me, needs a real sheriff next to him, somebody that can just, really dictate play and allow him to be more of the deputy. And I thought in that role he was quite good. Again, aerially he was really, really good, snuffed out danger, wasn't really taking a lot of risks, which usually get him into trouble. Outside of that, I thought Gusto was also really, really good. You guys already know how I feel about Gusto. Normally when I see him in that inverted number 10 role, I just don't like him there. Obviously in this game he was a little bit more dovetailing off of Neto, and I thought that he was really, really good. His touches were really good. He read when to go into the final third quite well, and he just understood. He was reading the defense really, really well. Like, there was times where you see João Pedro drop deep and command two or three defenders, and then you'd see Gusto spin in behind to try and get in behind. Obviously those situations weren't readily recognized by the people on the ball, but he was reading the plays quite well. And these are the types of things that you want to see from him going forward. Hopefully he can, again, show a little bit more consistency as we go forward. But again, nothing to complain about after this weekend. Chelsea come out aces against Tottenham, who seem to be in a world of trouble, not finding the form of a lot of the players that they were able to procure in the summer. Likes of Xavi Simons comes in, subs in, and then subs out a little bit later. Embarrassing. And obviously at fault for the goal as well, giving it away to Caicedo, who then wins it back to João Pedro, and Chelsea are up 1-0, and they never look back since. But we move on to the midweek. I think we got Carabao in the midweek, which should be interesting. They are in good form. They're a team that we have to, take seriously. And then we have Wolves, who will have a new manager at the weekend. So, we have a lot of things to look forward to, and good football. Hopefully, the return of Lavia will signify that, the return of Fofana, and hopefully the return of Cole Palmer soon. But until then, keep the blue flag flying high, and up the Chelsea. Peace.